encouragement, and I know where to get it. Let's rise with the set. Come on, rise. Let's go higher, higher, higher. Rise with the set. Rise with the set. Hi, and good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Rise with Lisette live talk show, sponsored by Kiani Productions. I tell you, it's so good to be here today. It's just good to be alive. I mean, refreshing. And you know what? The song that you just listened to was written by your girl Lisette here. And you can purchase that song on Amazon, iTunes, CD Baby, Spotify, and some other internet sites. You can go up there, just search The Love of God and Lisette. All right, by Lisette. It's good. Hey, Gail, good morning. It's good to be here. We got a great topic today. And by the way, how was your weekend? I mean, it seems like, it's hot, then it's cold. I mean, you never know what it's going to be. I mean, a week ago, I saw people out there with some shorts on, and now it's like, ooh, I mean, it's just so hard to figure this weather out. But it's good to be here either way, whether it's hot or cold. It don't look at look at Kiani
I'm
over there.
I'm from Miami. This is cold. Okay. I know you North Carolinians are like, this is nothing. I'm over
Oh,
here freezing
it
my
is. It's
behind off.
it's really cold. It's cold out here to me. I mean, I stepped out of the house yesterday and I
Uh,
thought the sun's shining real bright. I said, it's gonna be all right. And just soon as I stepped out, woo, the hog hit me. I said, oh wow, it is cold. I
I'm
said, but it's
getting a lot
all
of
good.
jokes from being on this show, Lisette.
Mhm.
First of all, me sitting behind the sun makes you look like an angel. But my friends that have watched this show are messaging, this show seems very wholesome and godly. What are you doing on it? I'm like, you know what? Y'all leave me alone.
Yeah, leave him alone, y'all. Leave him alone. Hey, you are godly. All right, how about that? You know what? It's good to be here today, and I just I'm excited about the show. We're doing a show about women, how the strength of women, empowering women, and just remember to share and to like and share and go call a friend or a neighbor. Say, come on and watch the show today. All right, do that. Tell them to watch the show. And by the way, if for any chance that you would like to give a comment on the show, then just do a little chime in, write something in the chat, and say, "Hey, can I go on the show with Lisette and give my perspective, give my view, or just add on to the conversation?" We would be glad to have you today. All right. So today we're going to be talking about women. And the other day I was looking at something that was so interesting. I was looking at this comment on Google that I thought was so special, and it was by, I had it right here and then I done lost it. I tell you, I am so mad. Ooh. But I lost the comment. But it was by Serena Williams, and she was saying how it's important that we, hi Ken, she was saying it's important that we encourage one another, that women should admire one another's strength, and how that we should encourage each other and that we're stronger together. So that's a very good point. That sometimes we think that we are not strongest together, or sometimes we feel like, hey, um, I can't stand her, or, even men be doing this. Don't tell me you men don't be. You men be doing the same thing. Y'all be saying, "Oh, who you think he is?" Y'all know y'all be doing, don't you?
Listen, a lot of men are even worse. At most, we do the same thing. I think most men don't attach more of an emotional value to it.
Mhm.
They're just like, but we can be cool around other men that we don't like. Like a lot of times, you can't tell we don't like that person until we tell you. But then, of course, there's some men that handle it poorly. But the thing that you're saying that is interesting about being strong and being together, especially in the women community, and we talk about the black community as well, because we love to tell people that we're strong and united, and it's true when we are. I was watching Club Shay Shay the other day, and he had Godfrey on, and Godfrey was telling a story about a big time drug dealer that he knew in New
Mhm.
York, and he went over to I think China to do a
Mhm.
drug deal with the triads, and he said he's walking in there, everything's super organized. And I know we're talking about drugs, and he's talking to the boss, and he said the boss told him, he goes, black people are amazing. We like black people. You're amazing. You guys are influential. Everybody copies what you do, but you're very easy to break up. And he was like,
Wow.
what? He goes, you guys can't even organize crime. He said, everybody has organized crime, and you can't even
Wow.
organize it. It's very easy to break you up and make you fight. And just hearing
Interesting.
that from a person that's in China saying that lets you know we are a very strong people, and women are a very strong gender. And when they're together, it's even stronger. But it's so easy to break us up, and it's so easy to pit women against each other. How many times do you see the example of a man dating a woman, and he's cheating on her with another woman? And what ends up happening? The two women end up fighting each other.
Ain't that
Why are
something?
y'all fighting each other?
Exactly. You need to be fighting him.
I'll
Why
never
would
figure
why
that
would
out
you
to the
fight
end of
one
my time.
another? I don't get that. I really don't get that. I mean, I be thinking of the same thing. I said, now he's the problem. He's playing both of you. But you're absolutely right. It's interesting. I kind of believe that somehow or another, when we have the tendency to fight, we don't seem to know our value,
Mm,
and we don't know how special we are individually.
mm.
And it's so easy for the enemy to come and try to make us think that we're not what we think we are, we should be, and therefore who she thinks she is. But really, we all are special.
I don't put that all on you guys, even though you need to love you more than anybody else, right? But at the end of the day, that's a great thing to say. We're all human, right? We're all human. And if I'm married to you, Lisette, you need to think you're special. But it's also my job to remind you that you're special. I shouldn't have to remind you every day, every other hour. That's annoying. But also remind you, especially when we're talking about like long term relationships, right?
Yes,
If you're planning on being with somebody 20, 30 years, you're making them feel special, can't stop at year 5.
that's true.
20 years in, you still have to make them, treat them like they're still the apple of your eye, and special. If not, as a woman, you're not going to feel that. And that's why women mostly venture out. Now, we know there's some women out there that are scandalous, but for the most part, we know men, when they're infidelity, when they do infidelity, it's more just driven by sex.
Right.
That's why it's in the office, behind a dumpster, in a motel, in a car, everywhere. We know a lot of times when a woman is venturing off in a committed relationship, it's emotional. There's a connection missing. There's that special feeling is fleeting, and they're getting it somewhere else. So it's a
Mhm.
bit of a difference in that. And then women, it goes the same. It's okay to make your man feel that he's special,
That's it.
and
I
that's
do.
the
I try to make my man Clarence. I know you somewhere around here. Feel special, and every day he makes me feel special. He is so
see
precious.
what I mean, Lisette? Look at that.
Yeah.
I'm getting off the screen.
Oh no, no. No, okay. Good morning. Good morning, Ken. But yeah, but today we are talking about women and men, really, but mainly women working together and and just begin to work together. So, and to know that if you know that you're special, then you want um envy, so to say, someone else's specialness. You won't envy their specialty. You'll just know that you're special as well. And I thought about how when the Lord made, when He made man, uh, on the outward side, he's strong. I mean, got the muscles that is strong. You can see his strength. But sometimes we fail to see how strong a woman is. and it's kind of like a oxymoron, because you would think that somebody so weak looking wouldn't be so strong, but we are very, very strong. I saw something that my previous pastor posted last night, talking about the strength of a woman, Pastor Angela Williams, and she began to talk about how women have to do certain things, how we're there for everybody, we're a counselor, we you know we try to comfort everybody, we try to help everybody, this, that, and other, all during the day. We're able to carry and bear children, and all these things that we do, but yet we're looked upon as being weak. And in reality, we are very strong, sometimes. But even the strong needs somebody. Even the strong needs to be strengthened. Only the strong survive. I don't know why why that came in my mind, the song. But anyway, um, I'm just saying to you out there, I want to encourage you today that if you are a woman out there or a man, just know that you have purpose and you have meaning, and that you're not just like a little something that came about to be, but you have meaning, you have purpose. And it reminds me of this little uh I guess it would be like a little story that we tell children sometime, talking about Cinderella. Cinderella? No, so we're going to talk about Cinderella this morning, because Cinderella is like a lot of us women out there today. We're pushed back, forgotten, um, and to some degree, she didn't know her value. She didn't know her worth. We are like lights from the Father of lights. God is the Father of lights. And so we're like his little light, his little lights. We're like his little stones, his little lively stones. So if you can picture a stone that has been like a diamond that has been cut, or I've seen some stones that they're not really cut that much, but it gives off some type of glow and luster. But the more you've been cut, the more you give off a brilliant light. So, and we're saying, like, I've been cut so much, I've been hurt so much, but there's so much light that you have to give off, because God is the radiance of God's glory is shining yet on your stone, and you can give more glory back to God because of the brilliancy of your light, and because you've gone through some things. Some of you have gone through some traumatic things, but because um, you have been cut so much, you give off a more radiance of glow. But it reminds me of Cinderella, and I love the story of Cinderella, because Cinderella, and I'm going to tie all this in, but Cinderella, here she was, if you can remember this little fairy tale. Now, I, according to some stories say it one way, some stories begin another way, but one story said that her father had passed and really had left her uh, um, a little fortune, but her stepmother, the evil stepmother, she, made her feel like she was nothing and nobody. And she lived there in the house with her stepsisters. So they just hated her for some reason. A lot of you are being hated out there right now. You're being hated because, um, and you don't know why people are hating on you, but they hate you for some reason. That's how they did Cinderella. So here's Cinderella is living in this little place here with this evil stepmother and her jealous stepsisters.
I'm gonna cut you off for a second, Lisette, because
Go
I
ahead.
know most people know the story of Cinderella, but I want to stress on something that you just mentioned
Mm-hmm.
while you were telling the story of Cinderella. Why do people hate on you, or you feel that people are hating on you? So it's easy to say someone's hating on me, but we know, just like we discovered with bullies, bullies aren't just bad kids. There's something else going on, right? And so when someone's hating, so what are the different? If y'all in the chat who's watching live, please put in your reasons for why do you think people hate on particular people, or just you in general. You don't have to be specific about you, but I know one of the reasons that some people can hate is, we know the obvious one is jealousy, right?
Uh-huh.
There's that big one. They may be jealous of something you have, or that they don't have. Sometimes people hate on you because, and this one is kind of a deeper one, they see your success, they see in you what they thought they would be, and they haven't accomplished what they wanted to in life, or they're not where they want to be in life. And the only way they know to express themselves is to hate on you. Sometimes it's not an actual hatred of you, or they don't dislike you and they don't even realize it. Because you'll see people where they don't like someone and they can't figure out why. And they're like, I don't know why I don't like her or him. But there's just this disdain, and that person's never done anything to them. And it's a disdain for that. Ken says, you're a reflection of what they aren't. Yeah, kind of
Wow.
along the lines of what I'm saying. And that could be in a good way or bad way. That can be because they feel insecure and they haven't secured what they wanted to do in life, or jealous. So you have that spectrum, right? You just have people that are jealous, but you have people that aren't aware that they don't like you and they're hating on you because they're not really happy with themselves and they don't realize that yet.
And that's it. That's why we want to deal with today. Why do you don't know what you have? And I'm here to let you know that you are awesome. You have something special in you. The anointing is not going to come when you be someone else. The anointing is going to come when you be yourself. When you be yourself and radiate what God has put in you and give that. That's when the good stuff is going to start going on, because that's what makes you you. The
Mhm.
bird doesn't act like now. Now there is such where there is a chicken, and even though I love the chicken, yum yum, chicken is good.
Mhm.
However, you have the eagle, and the eagle just soars. I mean, the chicken can't be the eagle, and the eagle can't be the chicken. But when they operate in the both anointing and what they do, their specialty, each other cannot beat the other. I mean,
Mhm.
I would love to be able to soar like the eagle, but I don't think the eagle tastes too good. I'm gonna be honest with you, probably tough. I don't know, but the
It'll
chicken is
taste
good.
good if you ain't got nothing to eat and you hungry. It'll taste good. But you also got to talk about something. Well, hold on. Let me get what Clarence says. Gail says some people are just jealous. We were mentioning that. That's correct as well. Lisette Cornegay is one of the strongest women that I know. She has gone through so much in her life, but still has a beautiful smile. She still loves people and chicken. And I'm sorry I didn't do the dishes last night. Okay. I'll
Oh.
take Clarence do those dishes. Okay. So here's the thing. And, I always try to speak for people who aren't, religious, so to say. They may not go to church and things like that. Even when, and everything Lisette is saying is correct, knowing that God put you here for something special, and the anointing and those things. But, my grandfather told me a story. He said John wanted to win the lottery. And he said, God, can I win the lottery? And for the first time in his life, God spoke to him and said, yes. A week goes by. He didn't win the lottery. He said, God, you said I could win the lottery. Can I win the lottery? He said, yes. Another week goes by. He doesn't win the lottery. This goes on for months. Now John is getting furious with God, right? And he comes to him angry and says, God, I don't want to lose faith, but you've been telling me for months that I'm going to win the lottery, and I still haven't won the damn lottery. Yes, he cursed at God. And God said, John, you will win the lottery. He said, when? He said, when you go and buy a ticket. It's the same thing that you're saying of praying, being anointed, and all that. But here's the thing, even with God, if you don't think that you are special, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter how much you pray. It's not going to matter how much you talk to God. If you yourself don't think you're special, He cannot make you feel anything that you don't want to feel. And that's, I think, people lose that, especially when the more religious you are, you lose that. God is there for you, but you got to be there for yourself as well. It doesn't work. One doesn't work without the other.
That's true.
You might as well be atheist at that point. If you're not going to believe in yourself, you might as well, because whatever he's sending you, you're blocking it. because you don't believe it in yourself. And that's why I say here together, it's not just God, we're all here. So you're talking about today about women being special. The question I want to ask you is, and if anybody else has the answers, because I'm not a psychologist and I'm also not a woman, we've created shows like Pretty Smart. If those of you on here have watched Pretty Smart, it's a show that I have with six beautiful, wonderful black women that, and I created that show because I wanted to show that black women can work together. Because we see all the things on the TV, whether it's Real Housewives, love and hip hop, everything. And it's all everything showing black women fighting,
That's
black
true.
women doing this. And we're painting this picture that black women don't get along. Why is that?
I think black women can get along. I know that we can. Um, and that I see Ken saying faith without works is dead for sure. And I absolutely believe everything that you said is true. You got to
Mhm.
believe in yourself. You must believe in yourself. It's kind of like something that my husband and I was saying earlier this morning. You got to see yourself where you want to
Mhm.
go. That's part of your faith. You got to see
Mhm.
yourself. It's not only is God telling you, but you got to see it too. And that's what I'm trying to do this morning is to help them to see. But why do women fight?
No, no,
Must we
not why
always
do women
fight? No, we
fight.
must not always fight. There
I
has to come be a reckoning that we
No,
don't
no,
have to.
no. Hold on. I want to make sure. I don't mean why women fight. Like I didn't want to ask that question. Like why women fight? Because everybody fights. I'm just been for the longest of me have been trying to figure out um why we depict women as because every woman doesn't fight. Every woman doesn't fight every woman, but why we have this depiction and we put it out so strongly
Mhm.
that women can't get along.
We can get along.
Hmm.
We just got to just we got to get to the root of the matter of why we don't get along. And I believe that is because we don't know us. We don't know who we
Hmm.
are. I really believe that if you know your value, then you don't have to be envious of someone else.
Yeah.
That you can be strong within your person of who you are. And so I think that's one of the reasons is underlining jealousy. It kind of reminds me of Joseph. We talked about Joseph, how Joseph had the nerve to tell his brothers his dream of them bowing down to worship him. And they're saying, like, it ain't gonna happen. I mean, you're my brother. I mean, I'm not bowing down to worship you. He
Hmm.
shouldn't have told it, but he told it.
Hmm.
And he told them the dream. It was really a vision. And they took it the wrong way. But how other way was they going to supposed to take it? So,
Yeah.
and so he went through a whole lot of trauma behind that. So I'm just saying that sometimes we don't see the value within us to the point
Hmm.
that if we think your value is greater or that I don't have any value, then there's a jealousy factor in there.
Hmm.
But you need to know that you are special,
Keeping
that
up with
God
the
loves
keeping
you.
up with the Joneses.
Right.
Keep it up with the Joneses. I thought of one. Well, also people don't understand that whether you like people or not, we need each other.
That's
Okay.
right.
I see people all the time. I do everything on my own. Like, no, you don't. That's impossible. No one does anything on their own. You can't do anything on your own. You need somebody somewhere sometime. If you want to get a loan, you can't loan yourself. Somebody's got to approve it, right? We
Right.
all need each other. Um, and sometimes what happens is we don't go the extra step to present something to someone if we see something of disdain. Gail says, I know God loves me. That's all that matters. People are just going to be people and are going to be jealous, which is true. But what we're talking about today is, sometimes you're the first person to bring something to someone's attention. Sometimes people will have a behavior, but they have a bunch of friends that just go along with it because they're not real friends. I have met so many people in my life that when I've brought something to their attention, they're like, that's how you took that? I'm like, no, that's not how I took it. That's how you said it. And then they took a step back. They're like, well, no one's ever said, everybody just says I'm blunt. I say, yeah, but some people disguise being blunt because they're just rude people. And so I saw a shift in that person. So it's not always you see somebody, committing a bad behavior or something like that, and you just go, that's that person. Sometimes you're the first person to bring it to their attention. I'm not saying that's all the time, but sometimes that's how that happens. And that's all a part of being a community. You
Hmm.
know, we're not hermits out there living off the grid in the woods. We're in neighborhoods, we're in churches, we're in schools, we're at work with coworkers, and you can have a person that says, "I'll put my blinders on, I stay home, watch TV, go to work, put my blinders on, go to the store and come home." You can be that person and that's fine. But that's not making the community better. And that's where we miss out on these things. I have seen women who are married to men that have two prior babies' mamas. And I've seen those women meet those baby mamas, and I've seen them at the park with all the kids,
Hmm.
taking the kids on trips together, just the women.
Hmm. And you can do that.
That's beautiful. You can do
It
that.
is
But we know
beautiful,
that's not the norm, right?
right? But that's beautiful because um I've seen that also. Because there's no need to um but this particular scenario here, there's no
Mhm.
need to involve the children and to get them all stressed out on stuff that you guys done, all the threesome here that you guys done. So there has to be some kind of peace, but there's no need to be fighting against the other, or women can get along. And I'm glad you got that, the Pretty Smart Show. Women can get along. Women don't have to uh, um, be envious of the other and be fighting each other or warring against the other. We are special within our, it's kind of like um, when you get to the place where you need to be, it's like you're like a well-oiled machine. You have to fit. You have to fit. Now, sometimes people try to put you in a fit, and that's not you. But when you, think of like a piece of a puzzle, when you get there where you fit, there's going to be order. Things are going to work out. We have jewels on the inside of us that can help the other, but sometimes we don't want to. We don't want to share, or we don't want to give. We don't want to accept the fight.
It's mine.
It's mine. I'm not giving. Or sometimes we just don't want to see that that sister has something that I need,
Well, that's
and
that
instead of
crab
me.
barrel thing that they
Mhm.
talk about, right? They always say the crab's in the barrel because Clarence says there is an effort made years ago. Clarence, I would say decades and centuries ago. Uh, so I'm agreeing with you. Build animosity between black people. We have to work to overcome that. But here's the thing: build on and work on it. You can try to put an effort of all the animosity you want, but we have
Mhm.
to be willing to take it, right? If I want to dangle something over Lisette's face to make her, that's going to put her ahead of Gail, and she knows that I'm giving it to her in spite of Gail to make them bitter rivals, that's up to Lisette to make that choice to take that bait or not. It's not it's not the choice of the person who's trying to do the bad thing. It's the receiver. I tell you, like for slavery, for instance, Black History Month, of course, was last month, and I was having this discussion with some folks, and one of the people on the panel who was white, he said, well, they always, people try to throw this in all the time. Well, in Africa there were also Africans that were selling Africans to the English in America as slaves, so they were doing the slave trade just as well. People try to make that point, right?
Mhm.
And my simple response was, you can't sell something nobody's buying. If you weren't buying slaves, how could they sell them?
That's a good point.
It's the same thing with that. So it's not up to the person who's trying to divide. It's not up to the person who's trying to do the bad thing. Like Gail said earlier, people are going to be people. It's the receiver's job to block it,
That's true.
right? It's the receiver's job to block it. So, because we already know people in power are going to act like people in power. There's going to be jealous people. So, what do you do on your end to help combat that? You turn a blind eye, it doesn't help the situation. You can be self absorbed and say, I stay to myself and I'm in my own world, and that's fine. I'm not downing anybody for doing that, but how does that? But then don't also complain about the problem. You know, if you're not going to be a willing participant in fixing the problem,
Hmm.
then don't complain about the problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. I mean, there are ways to deal with situations like this. And if you're not going to be a part of the answer, then don't be a part of the problem. I absolutely agree with that.
Ooh, let's say you just said something cool there because my I learned this from a boss of mine. I'm sure he's not the first one to say it. He would always tell us, "Don't bring me a problem if you don't have a solution."
Wow. Now
Like, yeah,
that's
just don't bring me problems. Okay, you've brought me this problem. Now, how do we fix it? Oh, I don't know. So don't just bring me problems.
right.
You know, it's like when a family member comes and goes, you know what, Auntie such and such is doing A, B, and C and D, and this is just ridiculous. Okay, well, what are we going to do about it? What? Then they get silent. So you're just over here gossiping, telling me how terrible Auntie is. What are we going to do about it?
Right. What are
You
we
know,
going to do about it?
you're bringing me problems, but you ain't got no solutions.
Well, we're going to have some solutions here today.
Woo!
Okay. But
Okay.
I'm going to go back a little bit further. And
Uh
for
oh.
anybody out there that have made, if anybody in their life have been somewhat like Cinderella, to the point that you may have, you may have been put down. As a matter of fact, they put her down. They made her feel like she was not good enough, that she was rejected. They were mean to poor little Cinderella. They assigned her duties and things to do that they wouldn't even want it to do. Um, they talked about her. They tried to hide her from opportunities. Um, they tried to keep her from success, and they wanted to control her.
We're missing something.
Go ahead.
So remember when I talked about the bullies
Mm-hmm.
and how there's a deeper issue? Well, there's something everybody misses in Cinderella.
Okay.
We dwell on the treatment of Cinderella. We dwell on the evil stepmother, and she may have been evil from the beginning, and the daughters. But you know the fatal mistake that was made in the beginning?
What's that?
Cinderella's father married that woman, right?
Yes, he did.
That wasn't the mistake. That could be
Okay.
one of the mistakes. But if you go back and watch Cinderella, the stepsisters are in the house, and he's outside playing with Cinderella, giving her a new dress. From day one, he didn't incorporate the stepsisters into feeling special like he did Cinderella, even though that's his blood daughter. But you
Wow.
married this woman with two daughters, and you
Mm-hmm.
didn't incorporate them into that love fest. So even if the stepmother was, let's say she was evil from the beginning, even because you saw her peeking through the corner curtain, watching him play with Cinderella, and she started frowning. Does she make that frown if he brings the stepdaughters outside and everybody's having fun?
Ain't that something?
So you helped develop that disdain, that jealousy towards Cinderella because you were treating your daughter on a pedestal and you weren't treating the stepdaughters the same. Now I get it, she's your biological daughter. And I'm not making that an excuse, but I always say there's a deeper thing of why is this happening? Does this happen if he treated the stepdaughters as precious as he treated his own daughters?
Now this is
And I
powerful.
think she poisoned them. They don't say that in Disney, but I think she poisoned them.
This is
But I mean,
powerful.
is everybody getting where I'm going? I know people are going to say, well, that's an excuse. Um, but we missed that in the beginning of Cinderella. It's very short in the beginning of the cartoon, but that always stuck with me because I felt like that sometimes little when the siblings were put on. My older sister was put on a pedestal. I don't have any disdain for my older sister.
Hmm.
We're like this, but I always thought about that at the beginning of Cinderella. Would that have changed things if he treated those stepdaughters as precious as he treated his own daughters and showed them that same love? Did you
Oh,
ever
that's
think
a
about
good
that?
question. Perhaps it would have been different. Perhaps it would have been different, you know. I mean, you can't, you have to love all of them. My mother told me this that was very good. She said, they're all your children. I don't care if they're your stepchildren, they're all your children. However, they're all are different. So even though you may have one or two children, whatever, two or more children, they're all your children, even if they're stepchildren. But they're all different, which means they all require something different. And there's a way to love them as one, and then there's yet a way to give each one what they need, you know. So
Clarence said it could be a reason. I wonder anybody else has an opinion on that. What I said in the beginning, like Gail said, she was very mean to her, and she was extremely mean. I mean, she was beyond Gail. You're being nice. She was beyond mean. Uh, but I still okay. Of course, if we're thinking about it realistically, they were going to write the story the way they wrote it, no matter what. But thinking about it in realistic terms, you see that in a lot of places. Let's think about exes, right? You have seen when we talked about women's and babies' mamas, one of the anger with some women is when you dated that woman, you didn't treat them well, you didn't put them on a pedestal, and you did things, you may have cheated and did all those things, and then now you fixed yourself, and now you're dating the new girlfriend, and you're treating the new girlfriend like the old one wanted to be treated. Again, there's a lot of layers in that. When did you date this person? You know, dating me at 22 is not assured to get the same treatment as when you date me when I'm 33.
that's true.
So there's a lot of factors in thing, and I think what happens with relationships, friendships, job relationships, everything is people don't consider factors enough. They just consider the behavior, and they don't look at why somebody might be doing something. Like it takes a big man to turn to that girl from the past and say, you know what, your feelings are validated. I was a terrible boyfriend when I dated you. I cheated on you. I didn't respect you. I did this and this and that. And you don't know the emotional effect that that can have on that woman or that man. We're not going to sit here and act like it's all men or that man. Um, it takes a big person to do that. And I think sometimes that helps the other person to heal towards that behavior. That example that I gave you at the park with those three women,
Hmm.
I knew all three of them. And that's exactly what that guy had did. He
Wow.
brought them all in one day and he told them the two previous women that he's a terrible father and he hasn't been doing what he wants to do. He's got his life together with his new wife and their kid, and what he didn't want is his other kids to feel like they were lesser than the
Right.
kid with the woman that he was married to. And he told those women how terrible he was as an ex, and they healed, and now they're one giant happy family.
That's awesome.
You know, it doesn't always turn out like that, but that's a guy that considered, hey, the one thing that's not going to change is I had kids with this woman. We I have to deal with this for the rest of my life. How do I make this easier?
You got to try to help them to get along. And right back to the subject, can women get along? Yes, they can. They can get along. And even with going right back to Cinderella, and I like what you said about the early part of Cinderella, how, you know, the father did some of that. You know, I can see that right now. However, as the story went on, and she, in other words, little things that you go through, things that the purpose that you need to go to, the purpose that you see. And sometimes it's the purpose that you don't even see. You don't even see your purpose. I'm telling you that you do have purpose, and God is going to use what you have. He's going to use what you have, just like He did with Cinderella. They didn't think she was going to the ball. They didn't think she was good enough, but He used what she had. He used the little pumpkin. He used the mice. He used all these little things that she would walk past every day. He used that to bless her. And even though you think you don't have it all, you do. He's going to give you what you need, and He's going to use what you have. Meanwhile, she got to the ball. When you finally get wherever your purpose, He's going to allow you to glance at it for a while. You're going to see it. You might not even thrive in it, but you're going to. At least glance it. You're going to see it. And she had to, at 12 o'clock, she had to run. She had to run back to her house, whatever, because everything that she was familiar with came back to, she was in the old dress. And the little mice went, the coach went, the pumpkin went, the coach went back to the pumpkin, the mice wasn't the horses. And anyway, everything just turned all back to where it was. But my point is this: sometimes you can leave a residue. You can leave a residue of you with people that you meet. They can say, "Wow, that she really, I just can't get her out of my mind." So she left her slipper. She dropped it, and of course the prince picked it up. But I'm trying to say this: that ended up, when it all ended up, she ended up getting the prince, even though she got to her purpose, even though um that she was hindered and she was rejected, and her sisters didn't want, and her stepmother did not want the prince to know that she was there. They tried to hide her. But this is what I'm trying to say: in it all, she got where she needed to be. You out there, you're going through a lot, and you're thinking that you're not going to get where you need to be, but you are. You're going to get right where you need to be if you continue to trust in the Lord. My point is this: yes, you are special. There's something in you that people cannot hide, that you can't hide. That desire to be greater, that desire to shine. That's an inward desire that we all have. And it's a natural desire. When you get into your purpose, when you get into that little fit in that puzzle, you're like a puzzle piece. When you that puzzle piece get into that little groove, there's going to be a happiness there. There's going to be a flow there. There's going to be a needing. There's going to be a giving, because you're right where you need to be. It's kind of like a piece of, like you got a machine, some kind of machinery, and there's a little screw missing. If that little screw is missing, it's not going to flow like it need to flow. I know you can probably try to patch it up, but sometimes you can't even patch it up. It just, everything doesn't work. So I'm saying that yes, we as women, we can work together. Why? Because we all got something to bring. I may not have what you have to bring to the table, and you may not have what I have to bring to the table. You may not be cut as much as I've been cut, or it doesn't matter whether it's a glow, whether it's a radiance. It doesn't matter. Everybody is needed. All the women are needed on this ship. If you can picture us on a ship, everyone is needed on this ship. On this ship to exist, to show their purpose and live their purpose. And it's okay. I can celebrate you being different. You don't have to look like me. You don't have to sound like me. I don't have to look and sound like you. Sometimes you have to do this in order to stay focused on what God has told you to do. Sometimes you got to do this. You know how to do horses sometimes when they're running in the race. They put blinders on them so they won't be looking at the other horses. You need to be focused on what you're supposed to do.
I like that analogy. Um, Quote says she picked herself up when times get tough and make the best of her personal situation. Hey, you know what? Listen, if I had the choice to be kept in a dungeon, but I couldn't sing beautifully and I wasn't attractive, that's one thing. But eventually she was going to get on out of there because she was pretty and she could sing, just like you. But anyway, guess what time it is?
Thank you. What time is it?
It's time for another Lisette dining story.
Okay, bring it on. Cool. I went to this drive. Well, it wasn't a drive-through. I went to the restaurant. It ended up being a drive. Man, never mind. It's very complicated. But I went to this restaurant, and this is what I said I wanted. I want I want this sandwich because if I tell you what the sandwich was, you know what it was. I want this sandwich. I want it without cheese, add lettuce. That's all I wanted. Without cheese, add lettuce. So the little waitress, behind the counter, she said, "Okay, so you want this sandwich here, and you want us to take off the cheese and add some lettuce. That's what I want." So then another man came with her. So oh, I see. So she wants to take off the cheese and add the lettuce. Yeah, okay, okay. All right, she wants you to take off the cheese and add the lettuce. All right, okay. So we got okay. That's what I want. Then the cook back there said so. Um, so you want I see you want she want to no cheese, add lettuce. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So you can actually hear him back there talking. Okay, I'm going to take off the cheese and add the lettuce. So she want to add lettuce. I said add lettuce. Yeah, right. Add lettuce. Add the lettuce. Add the lettuce. That's why I'm so interested. Okay, so when I got the sandwich, I said, all right, great. It was all nice and hot. I'm excited about this. Got in my car, and when I got ready. And by the way, I think I probably was the last. I probably was the last customer of the day. And the cook wanted to get off. I will put that in there. All right, so I got my sandwich and I looked at it. There was no cheese and there was no lettuce. So here I go, drive around the window to the drive-through side because they had closed down the store itself, the restaurant. So I said, "Excuse me," and I was knocking. I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "Could you put some lettuce on here?" And so they're saying like, "He didn't put the lettuce up there." I said, "No." He said like, and about that time you saw the cook driving on around the parking lot. He was going home. I'm saying like, oh my God, they forgot my lettuce, but they went and put the lettuce up there. I'm saying like, this is really crazy. I mean, this is really crazy. I'm saying like, how many times, did they say it? In other words, don't be the last customer of the day. Just, I guess, just maybe that's the point. Don't be the last customer of the day because you're going to get your order all mixed up. You're not going to get it right. All right. You think maybe? I don't know. But anyway, thank you again for listening to my adventures. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. I got one more. Now, I went to this other restaurant. Oh my God. I went to this restaurant and I said, well, as a matter of fact, I did the same thing. I said, well, just hold. I want cheese and egg. Cheese and egg. You would not believe. They put an egg with a piece of cold cheese on top of it. And I'm saying, like, no, that's not what I ordered. I said, I ordered cheese and egg. Well, we don't do that. Well, why did you let me order it if you don't do it? I want you to scramble it up in the egg. No, we can't scramble it up in the egg. Okay, great. Um, but the manager looked, but the manager looked at it and said, like, that's how they gave it to you. Yes, the cheese was cold on top of an egg. And then she said, well, hold on. So then she went back and just gave me a piece of cheese, a cold piece of cheese. I'm saying, like, no. And I said, you know what? I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. Just keep the cheese and egg. Keep all of it. How about that? I don't want any of it. But that's my adventure. That's my adventure. I'll come up with something else. Hopefully not, but I will. I mean, can't these restaurants just do right? I mean, is it me? Am I the problem? I don't know. But whatever, you figure it out. How about that? You figure it out. I
I have not seen the. I love it when your hair gets all crazy. On that first one, I'm glad you said it because I was going to say it. Let's say it now. if a restaurant closed at 10, don't be ordering food at 9:50. Right. You don't want the nasty stuff they have left at the end. You're gonna get whatever you have cooked is cooked in old grease. Like you're just asking for a stomach ache, food poisoning, or something.
For sure.
People want to go home. That first one. The second one, I hate when they do that. That happen anytime somebody says cheese with their egg. They're asking you to scramble the cheese up in the egg. They've done that to me a couple times at Waffle House where I got hot eggs and they put a cold slap of cheese on top of it. Like
You,
the craft single. Like,
I
what are you
know.
doing? Like, you can't chop that up and do that in there. And what I've learned to do because they don't salt and pepper eggs anymore because you do that yourself. But from now when I order my eggs scrambled, I always tell them, "Can you tell the cook to scramble salt and pepper in there?" And it always comes out so much better.
I will
But
do
I
that.
was expecting one of those crazy stories because look, Clarence will tell you. I have to, what research I'm doing? Restaurant dining stories with Lisette and Clarence because he'll come in here and fill in some of the blanks sometimes because she's got some really crazy ones coming out, y'all. These two were simple. Wait till you get to the
I'll tell you
real,
something.
real, real painful ones, especially the ones where she was the problem.
For sure.
Those are going to be funny. So that was Lisette's dining stories.
Yep. To wrap this up, y'all, I just want you to know thank you for um, coming on the show today. And just know that women are strong and we're powerful. We are strong. We are powerful. Thank you for coming. Please share it. You can also share the replay with someone that wasn't here, today. And just know as you go out on your way, just know you being a woman, you're strong. You're powerful. Even though we might look fragile and all this, that, and other, there's an inner strength on the inside of us. We can bear it and we can take it. But one thing we got to remember, we can do a greater job when we're together. So don't shy away from your sister or your even you men folks out there. Don't shy away from somebody that can help you. When we band together, and there's some even issues, even political issues that we need to think about banding together on. All right, okay, because we have let our voice has to be heard. Okay, but just know that God has made you for a special reason and that you do have purpose, you do have meaning. And even though your sister may be doing well over here, applaud her. I kind of gave this scenario one time about a plane taking off at the airport. All the planes are just sitting in their little spaces on the runway, waiting to take off. And even though another plane might take off before them, they don't be saying, "Well, I hope it crash." You know, who did he think he is going to take off before me? I hope the plane. No, everybody is celebrating that plane. Yeah, they got off. Because if you stay on the runway, stay on life, stay in life, stay in the race of life, you're going to take off too. And you're going to want somebody to applaud you. So let's work together. Let's work together. Let's support one another and focus, put the blinders on. If you watching someone throws you off, stay focused on you, on what God has told you to do, and concentrate on what God has told you to do. And when and if you can help your sister, help them and move on down the road. All right. I love you guys. You have a great day. Thank you for coming on the show. And watch out for those dining areas like I just did just a while ago. I mean, you got to watch out for that. Clarence says for anyone that is here for the first time, the paintings in the background were done by Lisette Honeygat. Thank you, Clarence. Yes, these are my paintings. This one is, um, I think this is called Time. You see the different stages of time. You wake up in the morning and 12 o'clock noon and 6 o'clock at night in the evening, and then you got 12 o'clock when you're resting. And this one is called Tribute to Women. This is a tribute. It's called the Awakening. This is tribute to battered and domestic violence here. Even though you may be broken on the outside, you're still strong. All right. So I love you guys. You have a great day. And thank you for watching the show. And if you have some suggestions,